to the chances of an escalation of the war into the fifth general European war in 400 years?
So I think the core issue at the end of the day is, in many ways, European. I think a lot of EU politicians see themselves as having their hands tied. Their hands are tied with NATO, because it's a basic fact that we rely on the Americans to provide for our security. So if we, go against NATO, then that's factually bad for our own security, right? If we antagonize the US, we've put ourselves in a situation where we're extremely dependent on them. It's effectively a protection racket, right? So their hands are tied with that, and then their hands are tied with Europe as well, because there is so much power now concentrated in Brussels, and if Brussels go against the country, they can really destroy it. We've seen that with Greece, for instance. And when you look at NATO, it's of course based on US interests, because the US is the dominant power, which are very different from European interests. And if you look at the EU, it's hard not to see, not to believe that it is also, if you listen to von der Leyen and so on, it's that they have Europeans' interests at heart. It's like, if you look at all their decisions, it's if you really had Europeans' interest at heart, like why would you do all of this? Mario Draghi, for instance, recently put a report on the state of the economy in Europe, and actually his diagnosis is right on many fronts. Like on the economic front, he said, like, we've basically been completely eaten in the digital space by the US. Like there is no European company worth its salt. I think there was a crazy statistic, like for the past 40 or 50 years, Europe hasn't created a single major business, which is crazy when you think about it.
It's crazy compared to what the others are able to do. The Chinese can do it, the Russians can do it, the Americans keep doing it, but we are digitally and innovation-wise, we are completely, utterly, 100% like on the US, like dependent on the US, right? No question.
Yeah, exactly. And the way to that what we should have done to have avoided the situation is basically what China did. Like they put this great firewall to protect their digital sovereignty, which meant that they controlled who could be in their market or not. They ensured that those in their markets respected their rules. It also enabled the emergence of a very good local ecosystem and so on. So if you looked from Europe's from the perspective of European interests, that's the kind of stuff that you want to do, basically. So whereas what we did is basically, we're a big happy family with the US. Like, our door is wide open. All those companies, please come. And in the end, they take everything.
Yeah, but I mean, even in the markets where Europe used to be good, especially the automotive industry, Europe is coming under the same sanctions or similar sanctions as Chinese, because the Americans have turned full-scale protectionist. and they will only do more of that, while still saying that any kind of measures in Europe, you need to curb that down, and then the Europeans do curb it down, and you have to increase all of your sanctions on China. So the US, I mean, this is what drives me crazy. I mean, the US has its interest, obviously, but that the Europeans don't get around to understand we can stand up for our own proper interests, and that's fine, and then we negotiate.
Yeah. So speaking at the European level, to me, one of the most striking historical things is we were about to sign a few years ago a very historic